If you don't have a jointer or you want to joint boards that are wider than the capacity of your jointer, then typically you can use a planer sled to joint one face of a wide board with a planer. I've never made one of these because it requires wedging the board here and there and quite a bit of setup time, and while they work, I just haven't wanted to go through the hassle. So instead of going with something like that, today I'm going to show you how to joint a board wider than your jointer with both the jointer and a planer. Before I get started, I do want to show you that this board is not flat. Because the board is wider than the jointer, it's also too wide to pass by the cutter head guard, so it needs to be removed. Anytime you remove guards like this, it's obvious that you need to be careful, and if you are uncomfortable doing so, then absolutely do not do it. Once the guard is removed, the board can be jointed as normal, taking as many passes as necessary to get the jointed section actually flat and jointed. I'm back with the thickness planer, and this is the 8-inch wide section that was jointed flat at the jointer, and then the overhang that needs to be removed so that it is down nice and flat with this. You can do this, or you can remove this with hand tools if you want, but I know that if I jointed one face, odds are that I'm going to be using the planer to make the opposing face flat and parallel to it. So why not use the planer for all of this and skip hand tools on this step? Basically, you need to have a spacer to extend this flat surface to the bed of the thickness planer. So something that is flat and consistent throughout its length, such as a piece of 1/2-inch plywood. If you put it on the bottom side here and make sure that the flat face references off of the thickness of the plywood, which will extend down to the bed of the planer, then you can run this little setup through the planer like so, and it will joint and plane the top side parallel to this flattened face down here that we flattened at the jointer. The only thing you need to make sure of is that the bottom of the plywood spacer is less friction on the bed surface of the planer than the top surface of the plywood touching the actual wood itself. With the opposite side flattened and parallel to the original jointed face, the board can be flipped back over, and then the planer can be used to remove the material that the jointer left behind. Both the twist and the cup are removed from this board. Both faces are nice and flat and parallel from one another, and it was extremely easy to do. If you don't have a jointer, then obviously a planer sled will do you wonders. But if you do have a jointer and want to joint something wider than the jointer, I find this method to be so easy to do, and you don't have to use any hand tools, and you're already using the planer anyway, so you might as well use it to complete the rest of the process. All you have to have is something that is a consistent thickness. I used a piece of 1/2-inch plywood. If you don't trust plywood to be the consistent thickness, then you could always use a piece of acrylic or some type of plastic sheet that is manufactured to a consistent thickness. But anyway, I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a great day.